What's up, YouTube? I've been jamming away on this Falcon. We're up at the shop today. Jamming away like crazy on this thing. Trying to get the exhaust done. Fired it up, open headers in the driveway, pissed off the whole neighborhood. Probably. But motor is in, everything is good, starts and runs pretty well. I threw together some throttle cable linkages, and this is the C4 kickdown cable, a cheapo one. But I had already used the low-car TV cable adjuster. So with the low-car one, I basically took the sheathing, the stainless sheathing, and the inner, and swapped out all the low-car parts from the TV cable onto this. So I'm getting pretty decent adjustment. I don't have this final adjusted yet. I think in neutral I'm getting like 60 pounds, so it's a little on the tight side. We'll have to tweak that. Now, runnability wise, like I said, fires right up, works good. But the issue I'm running into here is the Chinese distributor, or not Chinese distributor, the Chinese intake manifold. Go figure. So everything bolted up and lined up really well on the ports. I did have to, which I think you guys might have seen in the last video, take a Dremel and machine the outer face around the back side of the round distributor base. It wouldn't clear there, so 30 seconds or a minute with the Dremel and the carbide, that works just fine. The issue I'm having now, like I said, it starts. I need to adjust the throttle cable. I didn't have my wire cutters here, and I don't like trying to cut them with regular pliers and fray all the edges, so I waited on that one. It's only getting about third throttle right now. And the mufflers, the Flowmasters that I put on, are super drony, so that's annoying. I'm having an issue on the shifter cable linkage, and I'm having an issue, the bigger issue right now, is the water pump, or thermostat. So I put a brand new thermostat on here, siliconed this gasket, but you can see that big old puddle. When this gets up to temp and the thermostat opens, there is a water squirting leak spraying from this corner right here. And if I look at this, there's not a lot of meat there, even with the gasket. So like I said, second thermostat gasket. I've never had an issue with one of these leaking on any of on the truck, on the van, anything else. The only other variable is it the crappy $2 gasket from the auto parts store that's punched wrong, or is this intake manifold cast wrong? Either way, I don't think I'm going to mess with it. I think I'm going to throw that dual plane back on here. I have that Torquer too. Torquer 1 also, let me clarify, not a Torquer 2, a Torquer 1 mounts the carb kind of sideways or whatever. I got both in the truck. But here's the other issue. I'm at the shop right now. I have the truck here. I have probably 3 hours before a huge customer job gets dropped off. We did all these garbage cans for a public works, village, municipality, or whatever in the area. That's the first third. The other half is over at my buddy's shop getting welded, and they're dropping off the second batch, which is like 24 giant heavy chairs today, and I don't have space. So I need to get this done, and rather than mess around with another thermostat and test it, I think I'm just going to put the old faithful dual plane on, and I can switch them. Intake gaskets are cheap. I can switch those later on. And then also, before I start cutting linkages, I do have a Holley 650 sitting here. Then here's that Torquer intake manifold. Like I said, the ports are a little small in comparison. I don't know. Decision time. I know that this one worked. This is an unknown. So probably gonna throw that one back on. I think it makes a lot more sense. We'll see. But I gotta start jamming on this. Put in a parts order that one of the valve cover gaskets is leaking somehow on those blue ones. So I gotta chase that down. But ideally, if I can swap the intake manifold in an hour, which shouldn't be too bad. I'm still waiting on a new gasket anyway, but I can get this torn down, ripped apart, prepped, and ready to drop the new one in. And then I'll just be waiting on parts for the gasket. And then we just throw the thermostat in and we should be good to go. So I think that's the plan right now. I forgot, I can actually show you where this thing's leaking. If I pump this up, I don't know how well that's gonna show up. Oh yeah, there it is. trying not to spray you guys, but you can see it squirting right out of there. All over everything. That's what we gotta fix. And instead of messing around with it, we're just gonna swap the intake manifold. I don't want to take any chances because that's really annoying. I can only drive the car for a couple minutes until it gets up to temperature. Sucks. Well, sometimes being on a deadline works. I'm up here for about 12.5 minutes. Intake manifold's off. Now the fun, quick little cleanup. Then I gotta swap over everything from this manifold back to the other one. This is what I get for, one, ordering crap from China. Not that I'm surprised. We'll go into that and figure out exactly what's wrong with that at a later date. But also trying to switch things up when all along I said I was going to run the dual plane from the get-go. Then this popped up and I'm like, that seems like it should go faster. Chasing the top end. Womp, womp. Oh, I figured I'll take you guys along. Here's the 3 intake manifolds that I have. We have the old dual plane that was on there. I'm just looking at the thermostat housing right now. And we have the Edelbrock Torker. And we have Chinese one. So I pulled the bolts free, but I figure we'll do a quick unveiling here and see what you guys think. Notice the gasket hole. So if this goes here, see, this is where I get stuck. I can't tell if it's from the gasket, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of meat on the outside edge of this. It seals up fine everywhere else except for this one coolant passage. Pull this crap off, you guys can see it. This is the second gasket I've put on here now. But it doesn't, I mean, it's thin on this side. I just don't know. Maybe I'll weld up a bead here and then re-machine that flat. I don't know. When my buddy gets back, I'll ask him about it. In my head, it's about all I need, but there's not that much on the thermostat housing either. So, I mean, it lines up. I think it just needs more meat right on this edge. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on that one. But for now, that one obviously fits much better. The casting comes way out here. Same thing in the dual plane, if I remember correctly. On this, the intake is definitely inside of the water jacket. Hopefully you guys can see that focus. But I can get a pinky underneath the bottom side of this, which, Chinese parts, roll the dice, live and learn. So, back to flip-flopping these. O'Reilly's came through in the clutch. It is now 8:47. Parts just got here. 12.5 minutes to pull the intake off. However, about 25 minutes of cleaning and scraping. So, intake manifold's pretty much all set here. Got the new thermostat, so I'm going to put the thermostat in first because it's a pain in the ass to get these bolts on. Then re-glue it, drop it in. You should be good. All right, we got the gasket back on. Intake gasket's on. Silicone the China walls. Put a little sealant around the outside. Watch the other intake manifold, not doing the whole thing. But we are back together. Time to start reassembling. I do need to switch out that valve cover gasket. I got a new one of those. This side's leaking right on the header. It's just annoying, so I figure I'll fix that now. Drop in the distributor. And again, we're gonna have to play with the timing. I did mark it, this new line here on the radiator hose. Should get us close enough, but like I said, that's all adjustable and expected, because now we got a new intake manifold on here, so we're probably gonna have to tweak the carb a little bit, and then we should be pretty much good to go to get this out of here and make room. Today was a mess. Raced, trying to get all of these chairs in here. 24 of them. They're about 150 pounds each, so that's fun. But all the stuff got picked up that was out here, all those garbage cans and things. These are the benches or the chairs that go on the garbage cans. And the Falcon's gone. So, Falcon's sitting at the house right now. We got the truck over there. I'm going to grab that right now. Which means, with all the crap that we have up here, the sporty, blue sporty is going to stay here. The black sporty is over at my buddy's shop. But just pulled that out. I've been sitting for a couple weeks. no issues whatsoever. And then quick little Honda update for you. It's closer. Brand new stainless 4-into-1. Lays out really nice on here. So we're down to intake manifolds. Carbs are clean and ready to go back on, and then wiring. But quick little update. Still slowly but surely jamming away on this. Everything's gorgeous except the tank. We're gonna tear that off and start blasting and prepping that. We're gonna do some JB weld. Trying to keep everything powdered except for the badges. I got one busted rivet pin. I gotta figure out how those go back on. The other side's good. But she's sitting pretty nice. And then the Evo Sporty, obviously. That'll be up there for a while. Falcon first. Once the Falcon's dialed, I can mess around with that. So I'm gonna pull the Sporty around, park that, jump in the truck, and then we'll start heading back. But boxes and boxes and big electrical panels and all sorts of stuff. Today's big job was all of the bathroom niches. We've done a million of these, but that's what they look like. We do a lot of those. So those go back in the boxes tomorrow. Hopefully I can get all these boxes out of here. And then it's just a constant, never-ending rotation of 5 chairs in the strip tank. Pull them out, let them dry, and they get blasted. I don't know. I'd like to have some more space in here, but luckily the industrial stuff's been keeping us busy, more so than the wheel and custom side. That's what the lift is technically for. Customer jobs for wheels and things like that. We got a lot of oddball wheels, but they've been bringing them to us off the car, which is huge right now. So we'll get back, we'll do a quick little recap. I'll show you the Falcon, kind of, sort of what I can. The new shifter I got, it's a Hurst. I don't remember. I'll think about that on the ride home and figure out which one it is. I don't like the shift pattern, so I think I'm gonna go back to the swap meet shifter. I got the cables and the linkages kind of set. Close, not perfect. Trans is getting pressure through all the things. I gotta shorten the throttle and the TV cable substantially because they're looped around right now. Other than that, I mean, I got an oil leak out of that front seal. It's probably that timing cover seal that I didn't replace, is kind of what I'm thinking right now. Should have done it when it was apart, but I was rushing based on time. So a little bit of an oil leak, not there when it's running, but as soon as you turn it off, I get a 6-inch puddle. Pretty sure it's the balancer or the front crank seal. Made it home. So brought the torquer manifold back here, the Holly carb that I want to run, but I gotta tweak some stuff. Then on the Falcon, bear with me, get up here real quick. So we got the Edelbrock on there right now, just because everything's close. Now, a million issues. It's running pretty good, it's idling pretty good. I got a slight coolant leak right there still. This after doing the intake manifold swap. I gotta trace that one down. It's like right out of the bottom. Timing set pretty good. Thermostat's working well, holding a solid 190 degrees. But the issue I'm running into, if I go full throttle on this with the gas pedal, I'm only getting about two-thirds of the throttle that I need. And with the cam swap and the heads, higher RPM cam, it's trick flow stage 1. I don't remember the details off the top of my head, but she's dead down low. Up top, runs like a champ. Shift kit's working, overdrive is working, all of the transmission parts are working, but this shifter, maybe somebody in the comments can tell me what it is when I list this thing for sale, but this shifter, not the biggest fan. Just the design. It's like up, forward for reverse, one more click is neutral, then I gotta go down, overdrive, second, first. Just having a hard time getting this thing back in gear. So right there should be drive. but I'm struggling. Now I can pop it up into reverse, so maybe down, up a little bit, and then it goes back to park. I think it's probably backwards too. I don't really know. I like this one. Park, reverse, neutral, drive, drive, drive on the click down. So I think we're gonna go back to this shifter, but use the blue cable that I got hooked up on here. This one goes towards the front, this one comes out through the back. Super sketchy. Just kinda ran it through the tunnel of the firewall, or the trans tunnel. I don't know. Live and learn. Tried doing it that way. Now it's all welded into the car because I didn't really care and I was rushing, like I said, rushing the time clock. So I think we're gonna go back to the other shifter and go from there. Even with this one and the adjustments, I've been jamming on this for the last 2 days. I spent a ton of time going through the shifter cable lengths, the bracketry, intake manifold swap, thermostat swap, all sorts of stuff. Built the exhaust. Flowmaster are used. They work. I don't mind it driving, but at idle, they're terrible. Part of that might be that I welded up the exhaust hanger mount. There's a rubber bushing in between, but I welded those straight to the floor. And it's rattly, it's droney. I don't love it. The truck's got cherry bombs, which are super cheap, crappy mufflers. I love the way the truck sounds. It's drivable, it's tolerable. This one, I don't love it. So we're probably gonna be changing that at some point. But we have the rest of summer and winter to mess around with that. I do wanna get this back up to the track at some point. I was messing around with the TV cable line pressures, trying to get that all done. And that's where we're at. So, quick little recap on all the last 2-3 days. I didn't film much because I was up at the shop and just jamming away, racing the clock. So, catch you on the next one.